Okay, we're doing take two because we tried to do a recording here with my kiddos in the background, and
Kiddos were being kiddos.
yes, and they were having way too much fun. And so we were supposed to have done this like a couple of hours ago, but we got like started chismeando and catching up,
Yeah.
um, and so Iris, aside from being a an amazing artist, is like family. She's like my little sister, my comadre, and like we love her to death. And a lot of pretty much everybody that's participating in this project is like that. It's like we're family.
Yeah.
Um, and so we started
And I love that because I'm like, oh my God, she's doing this and Lydia's doing storytelling. And
yeah, and it's everybody that we know, and it's this group of women artists and creatives that really support each other, and that like we have each other's backs. Like I love that. But Iris is like, I think, the queen bee.
Girl.
Iris is like the queen bee. And so if you don't know her work, then you really have to check it out, because she is an amazing artist. She is this like super talented baker and pastry chef. She pretty much can make anything that she like decides that she's gonna work on, um, any medium,
Except
and
gardening.
except gardening.
Yeah, that's
Well,
my.
there has to be one thing that like you're not good at, but like cooking, like everything, everything. She sings
But
too.
it's, although that too, a lot of people are like, oh, how do you do all that? I'm like, I just start reading and researching, and then I just dive into it. And
And you're
there's
not
a there's a
scared.
yeah, but there's a lot of trial and error. You don't see all the bad stuff and all the stuff I mess up. You see like, oh, look what I did, and it
Yeah.
only took me 20 times to learn how to do this. But that's how you learn. Everyone's like, how did you do this? I'm like, it's a lot of falling down and then getting back up there and just doing it until you feel happy about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now, and you're right. You're right. But it's like it just still seems like you're just so talented, and the fact that you don't give up and you keep trying, and then you don't get scared to try new things too.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that I really love and respect
I
about you.
used to be scared until finally I was like, when I tell people when they're really shy, I'm like, how no if a new person meets you, they're not gonna know you're shy unless you show them or tell them you're shy. You can be whoever you want.
Yeah.
You can be outspoken and glow and shine and be happy. No one's gonna know that you're really shy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. But it, and so we love Iris, and it's raining and storming, and we're in my house, and so welcome. But I'm gonna let Iris tell us a little bit about herself, and then I just have a few questions. And
I mean, pretty much I was born and raised in Dallas. I come from a family of entrepreneurs. And so at a very early age, I was, seeing my mom do cutting hair, taking care of kids, cooking, baking. She did everything. And so I never realized all of the talents my mom had and singing too. We
okay,
would cleaning the house
your
Sunday,
mom
Saturday
is.
morning,
I love
but
your mom. She's a hoot.
yeah. And so just, you don't realize how amazing your parents are until you're grown.
Mm.
And then you're a parent yourself. You're like, oh my God, my mom was so cool back then. And she still is. But just watching my mom just be creative and her, testing out and trying and failing and trying again, like perfecting her recipes. And, I picked up on all that growing up. And then eventually I got into the family business, and they had a shop in Dallas by Lake Highlands, and that's when I realized like I really loved what my mom did, and I had a talent for it too that I didn't even realize. Like she kind of brought it out in me too, and then it was also me kind of pushing myself. Like if I can do this, maybe I can do this, and so it all kind of works together. Like when art has no boundaries, and there's art in everything.
Yeah.
Like literally, like I know one time we had a meeting and one of my friends was like, oh, I'm not an artist, but I'm just a mom. And I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. Like you're a caregiver, you're,
Yeah.
you are taking care of your kids, you're finding ways to entertain them, like that. There's an art in mothering.
Yeah.
You have to have a special kind of heart. You have to have, your mind is constantly running, so there's an art to everything. You just have to see the silver lining in everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I love to always show and share other people, share with them, is that when you don't think that you're capable of doing something great, like you are, you just need someone to kind of push you and help guide you.
Yeah. So how did you get started in the art world? I know like you were a part of the bakery and then
Yeah, so
obviously
we worked a lot. Of course, it was a family business, so we're constantly working. And I had two young daughters. I was recently divorced, moved out into my own place, and I couldn't afford artwork for my apartment. And so I was like, if that looks like something I could possibly do. It's just like icing, but on canvas and colors. I've already got that down. So I kind of just trial and error. I started with oil paints, which was a big mistake. I, to this day, do not like oil painting. It just reminds me of this piece, the first one I did that took like 8 months to dry because we didn't have Google back then. So I couldn't be like, why isn't my painting dry? But it's trial and error. And I ended up falling in love with acrylics. And that was just my go to. And my whole apartment was completely decorated, and my friends would always be like, "Oh, make me one." And so it kind of became like my mom's business, where it was her word of mouth, like, "Oh, where'd you get this cake? Oh, she made it. Can you make me one?" And eventually, Facebook days, when it started to blow up a little bit, I shared it on social media, and within a few weeks, I was in my first art show. I didn't even know the art world out there existed because I was so busy working.
Uh-huh.
But I became part of an organization called Art Love Magic as an artist, and it just, like, it was a snowball. It was just amazing to find people that had so much in common with you that you didn't know, complete strangers that you just instantly connected with because of art.
Yeah.
And it was art of all mediums, like body painting and jewelry making and potters and just like this whole world of art.
Yeah.
And I loved that my kids got to be a part of it and were raised knowing how to produce events, knowing how to set up and tear down and talk to people and exchange conversations. And, all of that completely helped me. And then I'm so grateful that I was able to be a part of that, because eventually I became the executive director.
Of that.
And so everything that I learned going in, I was able to give back to people barely coming in. And also, as a mom and how you are with your kids, it always helps in order to be able to talk to other people and,
Yeah.
relate to them on some level when they're scared or shy. But all that eventually worked in my favor. But there's, like I said, there's also a lot of things that you don't show or you don't see, and or you don't share because you're afraid of being judged or whatnot. But for the most part, I just really enjoyed being a part of that art group.
Yeah.
And it also gave me the courage to start my own art business. So I started Candelaria and Company, where I was teaching step by step paint classes. And all of it was Latino inspired because I saw that there was such a lack and need.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in my class, I not only teach you this is what we're painting, but let me teach you the history behind it and why we paint with the colors that we use, and where this dates back to. And you're just not going to go in there and paint like a sunflower.
Yeah.
Or whatever. You're going to paint something that has meaning. And then when you hang it up or you gift it, that there's like meaning and feeling to it.
Yeah. And if you've never been in one of her classes, they're so much fun because it's so much more than just painting. It's like painting and comadreando and networking and really kind of bonding. And I think that's one of the things that I love about like the community artists that are here in Dallas is that they really make art come alive.
Mhm.
And it because sometimes like we have this idea that art is only in the museums or like these fancy schmancy galleries, and I talked to Danielle Ellis about that too, and it's like art, like you said, is everywhere.
Mhm.
It's everywhere, and it manifests itself in so many different ways. Um and like sometimes we have this kind of idea in our head too that like it has to be perfect, like
Yeah.
everything that we do has to be perfect. And it and like I don't know, there's just like this like beauty to things when they're not perfect and when they're real.
Well, it's because that's, I always tell people too, like every single cake that I make, I see an imperfection and they're like, oh my God, it's perfect. And I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Like, there are so many things that I could have done different.
Yeah.
But it's just like oneself. Like, we're not perfect. There's no one perfect person.
Yeah.
And so why would you want and strive for something perfection, like perfection that is unattainable when we ourselves are not perfect,
Yeah.
you know?
And like your art classes are like that because like I'm not a painter and I've never been comfortable with that, but they're so much fun.
Yeah.
Because you let like it's almost like you encourage us to, even though you have like the painting that we're following and the you're like giving us the step by steps, you it's still like us
Yeah.
on that
Well,
canvas,
I
and
also
every
don't want you
painting
to
looks
start,
different.
I don't want you to start a paint class with a blank canvas and you feel lost
Yeah.
when you start. And like, I get it, but at the same time, I've done this for so long, for so many years, that I know what works and what doesn't. And you also have to have a personality to connect with so many different people, because not everyone is artsy when they walk into your class. Some
Yeah.
people have never picked up a paintbrush before,
Yeah.
and they're so scared, but by, you know, halfway through the class, you see them open up and they're even surprised with themselves at the pieces of artwork that they come out
And they
with.
all look beautiful,
Mhm.
and they're all different, and some of them look very real and some of them don't, but they do
Yeah.
they
And we all start off at the same concept, and then at the end of the class, it's like everyone's piece is so unique in themselves,
Yeah.
and that's what I love about it.
Yeah, no, that's like absolutely great. I love that. Like your classes are so much fun. So whenever Iris has classes, if you have an opportunity to follow them, and be a part of them, that'd be great. And but you'll get to see some of that when she does her how-to video on the collaging. It's they're just like so much fun and relaxed, and you don't feel pressure or
Yeah.
anything.
And I do house calls too. So even if you have, like, you know, a private party or a girls' night out,
Yeah.
or just something to do even for kids' birthday parties, we travel, we will bring everything to you. You just provide the space, and we even have tables and chairs, and you just bring your company, and that's about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so much fun. Um, what other things do you do, or what like if people wanted to follow you online, where would they follow you, and then what kind of stuff will they see?
You can follow me on Instagram. You can follow my personal page. I have it open. But also you can go to Candelaria's Bakery on Instagram. You can go to Candelaria and Co on Instagram. I also have Facebook pages that you can follow as well. You can always send me a friend request too. A lot of people are always, you know, we're always like, can you help, you know, rescue this dog? Do you have a friend who could do this? And so we always come together and we always help each other out. That's one thing about,
Yeah.
is was another reason why you and I connect so well, is that we put, well, it's not that we're prideful, we've never been that way, but we know that we can always be humble with one another
Hmm.
and never be afraid to ask for help. That's another thing too about me,
Yeah.
is that it did take a long time for me to like be okay with asking for help. It's okay. Like, there's people who really want to see you succeed.
Yeah.
But that's another reason why we all get along so well in
Mhm.
this little community. It's because we all want to see each other be successful. And there's no hidden agenda. There's no, oh, I've got to one up her, or I've got to be better. Like, it's never been that
Yeah.
way with us. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can always send me a friend request if you want. You can, I'm under Iris Candelaria/Feuer, Feuer. Or you can follow the Candelaria and Company page, the bakery page. And I also started doing charcuterie boards last year, just as like a
Yes.
pastime to have fun with, and I just ended up completely falling in love with it.
And they're also works of art.
And I
They're
love them. And like,
yeah.
you know, eventually once everything kind of opens up a little bit more, I want to have those small little classes at the bakery,
Okay.
and small little, you know, little thing. We're not going to decorate giant cakes. Like, we can have a cake, cupcake decorating class, and
Yeah.
just start them off small, because I don't want to be overwhelmed either because I have a bunch of work right now. But eventually those are things that if you follow me whenever I do post them, you'll be able to come and experience those too.
And you have a TikTok, right? And you post like
Yes.
all these really cool
So I
videos of
just got
how.
into that TikTok phase and I was like, I'm not going to be posting myself. But I post like my paintings, the boards, and the cakes are my main things. And you can find it under
Yes.
Candelaria and Co.
And the cakes are beautiful too. And then you always make it look so easy when you're decorating the cakes. And it's just like, okay,
Well,
yeah, sure.
I always tell everyone, they're like, oh my God, you did that so fast. I'm like, yeah, but I've been doing it for almost 22 years.
Yeah.
And it was like 6 days a week, all day, every day. So if I suck right now, I'm in the wrong career path. But same thing with cakes. And that's another thing too that I always tell everybody, you can never stop learning.
Yeah.
That's what I love about art and cakes and boards is that so many people have so many amazing ideas and they share it with the world and then you can piggyback off of that and it kind of encourages you to be creative yourself and see what other new ideas you can do.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about cakes and the boards and paintings is that it's limitless. Like you can do anything that you want. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you were a kid, did you think you'd ever be doing all this?
No, no. I was actually in the medical field.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's what you wanted to.
I was working for an orthopedic specialist, and eventually I wanted to be an X-ray tech. And my parents opened up their business, and they're like, "We need help," and so I ended up, kind of venturing into that. And for me, I cannot picture myself doing an office job,
Yeah.
an 8 to 5. Like I've been doing this for so long and it brings me so much joy that like you will literally see that in my work
Hmm.
because I'm real weird about things needing to be great, even though I know at the end I'm still like, oh my God, that edge is wrong or that edge is crooked. But I really like when you get something from me, you're gonna get a piece of my heart
Yeah.
because it's a representation of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can vouch for that. And like her cakes, you can taste the love. The charcuterie boards are works of art. Her paintings, I'll take some pictures. We're fortunate enough to have several of Iris's paintings in our home, and I'll take some pictures of them and post them so that you can see.
And that was the thing too. Whenever I did start the painting classes, I'd never been to painting with the twist. I've never been to, other paint and sip classes because I didn't want to copy somebody's
Yeah.
idea. I just kind of I teach you how I would want to be taught.
Yeah.
It's not textbook. It's like I don't want you to feel intimidated. I just want you you're here to take an art class so that you can relax and not be stressed. So if you're stressed taking a class of mine, you're doing it wrong because this is not what we're here for. And it's not strive for perfection.
Yeah.
It's just you being creative. And I always love seeing everyone so halfway through the class, they're so focused and I'm asking them, are you guys thinking about anything stressful in your life right now? You think about your bills, you're not thinking about your problems, you're just focused on, I got to get this black line straight.
Yeah.
And that's what I love is that I'm able to offer you peace of mind, even if it's just for a little bit.
Yeah. No, and they're so much fun. Do you have anything coming up anytime soon or in the fall or if
Probably
people.
in the fall.
Okay.
I know summer for me is crazy with the bakery, but I think with the fall, I would love to host like how to make a cake pop. It's so easy to mess that up and it's so simple to do.
I've never been able to make cake pops.
But if I teach you the way I like to be taught, then for me, it's a lot easier for me to teach you like real. I don't like, and it sounds so cheesy, sugarcoating, but it's class with me is always going to be very real. I'm not going to try to tell you that you're going to be like Monet or Van Gogh, like as soon as you're like,
Yeah.
no, like, we're just here to have fun. And, I want you to be able to express yourself and be happy. But yeah, like, I would love to teach in the fall,
Okay.
especially because holidays are coming up and
Yeah.
people love bringing new things. And so I'm going to start working on that. But I'm also still doing private events.
Okay.
I have a couple coming up in August. But if you ever want a painting class, if you want me to come to your house and teach you how to decorate cupcakes or how to make your own little board, that's a perfect girls' night
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. And I'm trying to think. Is there anything else you want to share or anything else that
Um,
you're like, like, Ophelia, you didn't ask me this. I was ready to
I'll
answer
text
this.
you that later. How dare you not ask me this? No, I just think right now, because of everything that has happened with COVID, we talked about this earlier, that we really did prioritize things that truly do matter.
Hmm.
And I honestly believe the arts are so important, because when we were locked up at home, we just had to learn how to be creative and
Yeah.
how to live without certain things, and how to, just like think outside the box and prioritize things that really did matter. And art was always something that mattered,
Hmm.
because without music, without, TV, without painting, without crafts, you're lost. It's just like life has no meaning.
Yeah.
And so I just knew that, whenever I got back on my feet, I had a lot of setbacks last year. I had a lot of personal things happen to me, and my family and my dad. And so, all this stuff has helped me realize what really does matter. And I love Semillitas because it's always been something that I've seen personally, like the result. I've seen little girls grow up, and I've seen how everyone navigates towards your table because they know that they're going to get free books or free art kits, or something fun is going to come out of it, because they're already processing, oh, we're going to get to be creative, or
Yeah.
I'm going to get to read a book and like jump into that little world that I'm reading. So for me, like, anything you ever have going on, like, I'm on board, count me in. I will vouch for Ophelia, Semillitas, everything you got going on. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's another thing too, is that I've always admired you for always being so giving and giving back to the community.
Yeah. Thank you. And I know that, like I said, you have my back, and I can always count on your support. And then, like, we're like the biggest fans of Miss Iris.
And I'm fans of her and her family too. Yeah.
Yeah, and like this is take two because my kids were like, "Oh, Miss Iris is here," and they wanted to be here, but they were acting like they had no home training, so
It's okay.
we had to.
They're real. It's kids. It's
Yeah,
it's your house. They're comfortable.
and they were like, "You're still here talking," and so, but yeah, thank you so much for coming by, and I can't wait for y'all to see the activity. And yeah, just tag Iris. I'll post all of her information on our social media, so that you can tag her and Semillitas on anything that you post.
Yeah, let
And
me know what your pieces look like too. Like, I can't wait
yeah,
to see, because I'm going to give you different ideas to do, and then you get to, kind of navigate your own little art piece. But I love seeing the end results. It always brings me, like, I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe they did this. And
mhm,
sometimes I'll get ideas from things that they do too, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even think about that. So
yeah. And so you'll have the basic building blocks in the kit, and again, the activity is based on a story from House on Mango Street by Sandra Cisneros, and it's called Hair Pelitos, and it's all about
it's an
like,
homage to your hair,
uh-huh.
and it's so
I
true
and I
because
love it.
everyone's hair is so different.
Hmm.
Like right now I got this little rat's nest up here. But sometimes I'm like, oh, maybe I'll let my hair down. Or, my mom's hair is straight and my dad's hair is curly and my sister's hair is frizzy, and
Uh-huh.
but and I want you to be able to share that. Or I have spiky hair, or if you don't have hair, then don't put hair, because
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love that story, and it's a lot of fun. And the artist for that book is, I think, from San Antonio. I could be wrong, but I think it's an artist from San Antonio too. And yeah, we just
And the
can't wait to see.
and the artwork in the book is really colorful
Yeah,
too.
it
So you'll see
is.
in your kit, you're going to get different color construction paper, because not a, if you see the book and then you see the construction paper and the markers and the little stuff in there, then you're gonna be like, oh, okay, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Because again, it's not meant to be perfect. It's just meant for you to have fun.
Yeah.
And even if you have curly hair and you don't want to have curly hair in your photo that you're gonna make, then make straight hair. Like, it's all on you.
Yeah. And then if you haven't had a chance to read the book or check it out, on Saturday we will have Livia Ortiz, a local poet, reading from the book. And so yeah, I know. That's another one that we're like huge fans of. Um, and you can check, it'll be a Facebook Live on Saturday morning from 10 to 11, and you can hear her reading from the book. So I think that's it. If there's not anything else.
No, I mean, if you've got questions, feel free to ask
Mhm.
me. And oh, here's another thing. Look,
Yes.
here's my artwork that my friend Tara made. She turned my earrings into, or my artwork into earrings. And so I'm always about supporting local too. So if you're friends with me on Facebook, you'll see that I'm constantly tagging my friends and, sharing everyone else's info. So that's another thing, is that I'm all about really helping community that I see is really involved in the community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And so yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Mayon, and adios. I'm just glad we haven't had any power outages right now in the middle of this.
Now that you said that, the power's
I know the
gonna
power's gonna go off, but that's it. Thank you.
go off. Bye.
Bye.